Welcome to Good Game Spawn Point.
We've got another big bag of gaming goodness for you. Literally.
Yep, coming up on the show. It's Tiki Tower time in PixelJunk Monsters 2. Plus, the anime-inspired adventure, Forgotton Anne.
You keeping up, Anne?
Don't call me Anne.
And Jem checks out some cosplay.
Who are you dressed as today, Lily?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. And what about you, Adelaide?
I'm dressed as Batgirl.
Wow, what else is in here?
Guys, no portals in the studio.
But... You guys?
Rad, when it comes to satisfying gameplay loops, I find you can't go past a good old-fashioned tower defense game. That minute-to-minute planning and action really sinks its hooks in, keeps me playing for hours.
Oh, well then clear your schedule, Goosey, because PixelJunk Monsters 2 is here to satisfy all your tower defending needs.
Ah, my schedule was clear anyway.
PixelJunk Monsters 2 is a straightforward tower defender that sees you in control of a small tiki man who must protect a base of tiki babies from wave after wave of monsters by placing a range of towers along set pathways.
Destroying monsters earns you gold and gems, which you can use to purchase more towers or upgrade already existing defenses. More waves equals more mauler, which in turn equals more towers. Keep all your tiki babies safe, and it's a job well done. It's a tried and tested formula that always feels satisfying to play.
In this game, you're placed in direct control of Tiki Man, and this means you'll need to run about the map to turn trees into towers and grab pickups, all the while avoiding running into the oncoming critters as they march forward. It's a little fiddly to begin with, but it is a nice point of difference that was established in the original game, which I believe had quite the following, although I never played it myself, did you?
No, I can't say I have. Darren? Hello, Darren? Go for Darren? Oh, he's never actually there when we want him to pop up on the screen behind us.
Ahoy, hoy!
There you are, Darren. Hey, could you hit us up with some knowledge about this series?
Affirmative. Let me just dig through the digital archives. Ah, here we go. PixelJunk Monsters was originally released on PlayStation 3 10 years ago in 2008. Since then, the game has gone through multiple re-releases, with Encore, Deluxe, and Ultimate versions released on the PSP, Vita, and PC. The original game owes much of its success to the booming popularity of tower defense games back in 2007, thanks to a flood of mobile apps and flash games that embraced the genre's simple but long-lasting gameplay formula.
Oh, thanks, Daz. Wow, 10 years, that's a serious chunk of time between games.
Sure is, and I must say I'm relieved to see the visuals got a serious upgrade. Evolving from 2D to 3D can sometimes be a clunky process, but here the art style really shines through with some great lighting and focus work. It makes the whole thing look like a little claymation and it's adorable.
Oh, it is, isn't it? And it suits the style of game really well. Switching to third-person view really shows off the creature design and the environments in more detail, but I wouldn't recommend it for long as it puts you at a huge disadvantage. And you will need to be paying attention because games like this can quickly get out of hand if you're not across everything that's happening.
Each environment has 3 stages, and these can be replayed at varying difficulties that will switch things up like enemy lane choice and creature type. However, you will need to complete these flawlessly in order to earn rainbow pieces, which are used to unlock new environments. And it can be super frustrating when just one little critter sneaks past your defenses. But that did just make me more motivated to jump back in and try again. Plus, there's always the draw of unlocking new outfits like masks and shells along the way. And they're definitely cute, but I would have liked to see some perks attached to these, like maybe a speed boost or coin bonuses or a faster build bonus, but no, they're just silly faces.
It definitely feels like a missed opportunity, which kind of sums up the whole game for me. All the changes in this sequel are really just cosmetic. The gameplay from the original remains largely unchanged. There are towers to defend against air, ground, or both. You can level up towers by dancing near them or cashing in gems. Enemies range from slow hulking stone men to fast moving spiders or swarming minions, and each round is always punctuated by a slow moving but super tough tiki totem boss. I mean, it works, but it's nothing new.
And it has been so long since the original. A crucial part of any sequel should be to innovate on what's come before, to change things up, add something new, but what's here is really safe.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Rad, with everything we've just said, I still can't stop playing this. Just give me a good selection of maps, a range of interesting towers, and a heap of replayability, and I'm happy. Which in this case, I was.
Well, I don't think I can let this slide as easily as you, Goose. I love tower defense games too, but I think this is an odd sequel that does little to stand out in a crowded market of similar games that just do more with the genre. I will admit I had some moments of fun playing co-op with a friend, and this might be good for someone who's new to the tower defense genre. But at the end of the day, this was just a nice looking game that I've essentially played 100 times before. So I'm giving it 2 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Again, I can't disagree with you there, Rad, but I have such a fondness for this genre, especially if it gets those basics right. Add a shiny new coat of paint and the ability to play portably on a Switch, and you can count me in as a fan. I'm giving PixelJunk Monsters 2 3.5 out of 5 rubber chickens. Except when one of those darn critters gets past.
How annoying is it?
So annoying!
Just instant restart.
I have to every time.
All right, it's that time of year again. The Electronic Entertainment Expo, aka E3, aka Gaming News Christmas, unfolded over the last week or so, and we've got the lowdown on some of the highlights. Overall, we saw no new major hardware or console news this year, so while there's always a bit of hype and hoopla at the event, really, it's all about the sweet, sweet games. There were heaps of exciting reveals for mature gamers, but in the family-friendly space, still some big announcements. We finally got that Kingdom Hearts 3 release date. The game is due to release in January next year, with new trailers on show featuring characters from Frozen, Pirates of the Caribbean, Toy Story, and more. Electronic Arts surprised us with Unravel 2, now with an adorable co-op mode, and it was released as soon as they announced it. For sports ball fans, FIFA 19 will include a Champions League mode, and the final chapter of Alex Hunter's story in The Journey. Also, Madden 19 will be released on PC for the first time in ages. Meanwhile, Microsoft showed off the new Forza Horizon 4, which is due out in October. Set in Britain, it features open-world online co-op and dynamic seasons. Also, Sea of Thieves will get new content, Cuphead will get some DLC, Gears of War is going mobile with Gears Pop, and there was news of a new 3-player couch co-op Battletoads game. Now, a live dance number, marching band, and panda costume can mean only one thing: another Just Dance! Ubisoft's Just Dance 2019 is due out in October and will continue the trend of being available on older consoles like Xbox 360 Connect, Wii U, and even the Wii. Also announced was space game Starlink Battle for Atlas, with Fox McCloud of Star Fox available as a playable character in the Switch edition. There wasn't much news from Sony in the G or PG space, aside from a new Crash Bandicoot level being added to the Insane trilogy, a closer look at the creation game Dreams, the hypnotic new Tetris effect, and a delightful looking PS VR game called Ghost Giant. And from Sega, we finally got to see a new trailer for Team Sonic Racing, showing some of the tracks and characters. Gotta go fast. Capping off the announcement extravaganza, Nintendo revealed a new Mario Party game for the Switch, including a new way to use multiple Switch consoles, releasing in October. Overcooked 2 was announced, the Aussie-made Hollow Knight is now available on Switch, and we got to see details of the new Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Every single fighter from past Smash games will be there, as well as new additions Inklings and Metroid's Ridley. No Waluigi though. Of course, all of these were just some of the games announced this week. Whew. Well, now it's time for the extra scoop. You know, it's easy to get swept up in all of the excitement of E3, but it's worth remembering to always make sure your microphone is off when you leave the stage.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great E3.
Thank you!
Well, that's all the time we have for this week, but don't forget to catch all of Goose's daily reports from E3 on our online channels. So exciting! I nailed it! I nailed it!
One of the things I love about gaming is how it brings people together. But it's not only through the games. There are in fact a bunch of sub-communities within gaming, each focusing on a different aspect of gaming culture and celebrating it in their own special way. So today, I'm exploring a gaming subculture that is very close to my heart: cosplay. Cosplay, or costume play, is a hobby in which people create and wear costumes to imitate their favourite video game or pop culture characters. Cosplay actually began in North America in the 1930s, and back then, it was called costuming, and it was more about dressing to a theme like sci-fi, rather than becoming a specific character. It wasn't until 1984 that Japanese reporter Nobuyuki Takahashi coined the term cosplay while reporting on the pop culture convention WorldCon in Los Angeles. And from there, the cosplay name caught on around the world. And now, cosplaying is more popular than ever, with some cosplayers spending years working on and perfecting their costumes. Of course, what starts here in their homes or workshops
Ends here, at a video game or pop culture convention. We put all your hard work on display and maybe even win a prize.
Pop culture conventions, or cons, are where cosplayers go to strut their stuff. So I'm hitting the con floor to find out why they do it.
We found our first batch of crazy cosplayers. What's your name, sweetie?
Lily.
This is Lily, and what's your name, honey?
Adelaide.
So we're here with Lily and Adelaide. Now, who are you dressed as today, Lily?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. And what about you, Adelaide?
I'm dressed as Batgirl.
It's Batgirl, that's awesome. Why do you love cosplay so much that you've just given so much of your time for this?
Listen, I really like exercising the kind of creative part of my brain, trying to make something that only works in a 3D kind of computer-generated world work in real life. It's a real puzzle.
Well, I like to mingle, so I like making new nerdy friends and all that. That's kind of a big up for me. Meeting new friends that I kind of share the passion and all that is probably the best thing about it.
How comfortable are you in all that?
Oh, it's pretty comfortable, just warm.
So what is it you love so much about cosplay that you would go through all this and wear this suit?
Love to see the kids' reactions.
Yeah.
You know, they're superheroes is alive and they look up at you and think, wow.
She's really strong and smart, and it's really cool to like look like her.
How long did it take you to make it?
In total, probably about a month in complete hours. I started because I wanted to meet new friends. I love it because I just love the effort and the passion that everyone brings to the table. It's just such a really nice place to be.
Me and my grandma did this. I bought this online and the rest is just my stuff, yeah.
That looks fantastic. And what about you, Ben?
Most of the armor from scratch. The spandex template I got from a designer online.
Why do you guys enjoy cosplay so much?
Well, I think it just helps us geeks all get together and no one's afraid of anything or getting negative comments or whatever. So just a place to feel free sort of thing and be who you want to be.
Yeah, you can be part of a community.
What is it about cosplay that you enjoy so much that you've put in all this time and effort into making a costume?
It's a creativity. I've 3D printed most of this.
Yeah.
It just was a bit of a hobby, a bit of fun, and it's just fun to wear and just see people's reactions.
It's so cool that most of the cosplayers I talk to just do it for fun and the enjoyment of others. But in saying that, I want to get the whole cosplayer experience, and that means entering a competition. A cosplay competition usually involves a quick onstage interview, striking your best pose, and an optional performance called a skit. The winner of the competition is decided by a panel of cosplay judges. Oh, I think I might need to get a few tips first.
What do you look for in the cosplays that you see?
Well, overall, we take in the whole costume as a whole and how it looks as a completed thing. It's the people who showcase a variety of skills. Maybe they've done a lot of sewing or they've added a lot of armor, whether or not it had a lot of engagement with the crowd.
How much of it is competition? How much is just having a bit of fun? It's just to enjoy it?
All fun. 95% of the population don't enter competitions. They just dress up and have fun. And there's different varieties of that. Like some people focus a lot more on their makeup and their wigs, but buy their costumes. Other people really enjoy building their costumes. It's just all about having fun.
All of the costumes in the competition were awesome, and before long it was my turn to strut my stuff on stage.
Okay, so that was really, really fun. Competing is always kind of scary when you first get up there, but once you're on stage and you're talking to the judges, it's really comfortable. So it's nice to get there and show off your stuff, but also just have a little bit of fun. So that was really, really cool.
Even now, getting up on stage still makes me so nervous. But the support from the audience and the other cosplayers makes it all worth it. I love cosplaying because it makes me feel like I'm a part of a big, nerdy family. It's such a welcoming and supportive community that's so full of positive energy.
Amazing work. Thank you so much, Pandora Cosplay.
Everyone I've met today has such a passion for pop culture, and their enthusiasm for the characters they love makes it hard not to get excited with them. And after all, who doesn't want to enjoy being a hero every now and then? Okay, Goosey, are you ready to jump back on that question horse and ride into the answer sunset?
I think so.
Okay, let's get stuck in with a video question from Elijah.
Hello, Good Games Spawn Point. I have a question for you. If you do not answer, I will make you all drink out of the noob cup. My first question will there be a Star Wars Rebels game coming out soon this year? Or will there be any Star Wars games coming out soon?
Oh, thanks, Elijah. Even the mere mention of the noob cup sends shivers down my spine. I can still taste that mustard custard essence lingering in my mouth.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Elijah. In answer to your first question, we haven't heard any plans specifically for more Star Wars Rebels games anytime soon. There were a few online and mobile Rebels games released a while ago, one of the more recent of these being Recon Missions, which was discontinued, apparently due to developer constraints. So it's hard to say whether there'll be any more like them.
As for whether there'll be any new Star Wars games in general coming soon, well, there is the mobile strategy game called Star Wars Rise to Power, currently in closed pre-alpha testing for Android devices. No word yet of an official release date for this, but it's one to keep an eye out for if you use Android.
Oh, and it's worth mentioning the recent re-release of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer for PC. It's a whole lot of pod racing fun. Not a new game, but worth checking out if you've missed it.
Yes, I have fond memories of playing that one. Other than that, Electronic Arts seem to have a few Star Wars-y things simmering away. After their Star Wars project with Visceral Games fell through last year, there's been talk of a new Star Wars open world project in development, but that might not be out for a while.
Yes, and I hear EA Studios Respawn Entertainment will be releasing a game called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sometime in 2019.
But we haven't heard many specifics about these games or what they'll be rated if and when they do come out.
Oh, and there might be more LEGO Star Wars at some stage, but I haven't heard anything solid on that. And I always think it's good to wait until official confirmation before getting any hopes up.
Yes, I agree. Keep those hopes at a reasonable level. In the meantime, at least you'll have the Force. The Force will be with you.
Always. Now, moving on to a question from Tessie. Who's the creator of Geometry Dash? And do this gem. Ha! Woo! Hash. Oh! Or drink from the noob cup. Thanks, Tessie. The creator of Geometry Dash is a guy called Robert Tapala, also known as RobTop. He's a Swedish game developer and founder of RobTop Games.
Yeah, thank you, RobTop, for creating such a challenging game.
It sure was fun watching you tangle with those tricky triangles during our frustrating game stream, Goose. And even more fun reliving the discomfort on our online channel, over and over and over and over again.
Yes, marvellous.
Well, next up, we have some questions from Fez Guy, King of Doctor Who from the TARDIS in the GGSP studio.
Hi, GGSP. I'm a big fan. I would like some precious answers. 1, how is Barjo doing in space? 2, has Darren ever met a Dalek? 3, what happens if you join Joja Mart in Stardew Valley? You might Darren for that one. 4, can you do a mini review of There Is No Game? If you don't answer, my mini Daleks will exterminate you. Thanks, bye. P.S. Darren is superior. All hail Darren. All hail Darren. Exterminate the humans. Bye.
Wow, we have a TARDIS?
I don't know. Maybe it's that side table thing lying around. It looks a bit TARDIS-ish. But anyway, thanks for your question, Fez Guy, King of Doctor Who.
I'll just get down on the line to help out with those precious, precious answers.
Greetings!
Hey, Darren. A fan of yours has some Ask SP questions. First off, how's Barjo doing in space? You chat with him sometimes, don't you?
Oh, affirmative. I've managed to set up my very own deep space network using my old antenna. I call it Darren's Space Network. It allows me to contact Barjo across the cosmos. And if my calculations are correct, he's due for a visit to Earth soon to stock up on Earth supplies and human friendship and such. I'm sure he'll stop by the GGSP studio next time he's on the planet.
Cool. I think we're all keen to hear Barjo's tales from deep space. What about a Dalek, Darren? Have you ever met one?
Oh, affirmative. Loads of them. Well, actually, that reminds me. It's high time I caught up with my old pals and do a bit of noob exterminating. And maybe a bit of knitting.
I didn't know you were interested in knitting, Darren. You should have a crafternoon sometime. And what about Fez Guy's question about what happens if you join Jojo Mart in Stardew Valley?
Well, if you choose to purchase a membership, the community centre will be replaced with a warehouse. After doing this, the community centre bundles will be replaced by community development projects, which you purchase from Morris.
I'm not sure I like the sound of that. I've become quite fond of the old community centre.
Well, the choice is yours. Is that all?
Yeah, you know, Fez Guy says some other things like, you're superior, all hail Darren, yada, yada, yada. Nothing important.
High stars! Well, it sounds like Fez Guy has very high intelligence levels. All hail Darren.
All right, Darren, thanks, bye. Does not need that for his ego. Now, Fez Guy has asked if we could do a mini review of There Is No Game. I think we can manage this without Darren. Do you want to do the honours, Jem?
Sure, though it is hard to describe exactly what kind of game There Is No Game actually is. I would say it's definitely absurd and clever with some fun puzzle and lateral thinking elements. The best thing about it, I think, is its sense of humour and the way it plays with your expectations. Plus, it's short and free to play on PC or Android, so easy to just give it a spin and see what you think. I give it 4 out of 5 mini rubber chickens.
Yeah, I agree, Jem. It reminds me a little bit of Undertale. Overall, it's a pretty unique idea and an amusing kind of game.
Or not game.
Oh, yeah. On that note, there is no time left, so if you have a question you'd like us to answer, there's no better way than recording it in video form and sending it through to us. Yeah.
So, if we have a TARDIS in the studio, does that mean that we can travel through time and space?
Maybe it can do space but not time. Or is that time but not space? It gets very wibbly-wobbly.
If you've ever wondered where that one missing sock got to, or what happens to the things that you stuff under your bed, well, maybe they found their way into the world of Forgotton Anne.
Developed by the Copenhagen studio Throughline Games, Forgotton Anne is a 2.5D puzzle platformer. You play as Anne, one of only 2 humans living in the Forgotten Lands, a world populated by misplaced and forgotten household items called Forgotlings.
Don't worry, we have lots of your kind here.
As the enforcer in this enchanted world, it's Anne's job to keep the Forgotlings in check, as her mentor and leader, Master Bunku, works on constructing the Ether Bridge.
The Ether Bridge is our #1 priority.
Which will allow them, and those loyal to Bunku, passage back into the human world.
But trouble strikes when the city is attacked by a group of rebels, threatening the completion of the Ether Bridge. With her Arca, Anne must harness the energy of the Forgotten Lands, known as Anima, to put an end to the rebel threat and restore power to the city.
We got Anima again, fellas! Look alive!
And what a beautiful city it is.
Indeed. The hand-drawn anime art style is very reminiscent of works by Studio Ghibli, such as Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. Creative director and co-founder of Throughline, Alfred Nguyen, said that the team wanted to establish Forgotten Anne's individual style by taking inspiration from the things we love while still being true to our own identities.
I think they did an incredible job of that too, because not only does every environment look different, but they feel different. The slums and lower levels of the city are grimy and bathed in shadows, whereas the upper levels, like the train station and the tower, are warmly lit and beautifully decorated. This is also a comment on some of the game's deeper themes, like the corruption of power, the importance of thinking for yourself, and understanding that your decisions have consequences.
Yes, there's nothing like knowing that my actions will at some point come back to bite me. It does add a sense of responsibility though, doesn't it? Early on, I ran into a scarf that I suspected was a rebel and was given the choice to distill him with the Arca, turning him back into a lifeless object, or let him escape. I didn't know what to do. What would happen if I let him go? And then he went and he hurt someone else? Would that then be my fault?
Exactly. It's that kind of weight that really makes you question yourself in Forgotten Anne, because your actions will affect how the Forgotlings respond to you as well. Convincing them to aid you might become more difficult if you've been running around distilling their friends. It also teaches you to find other ways around problems. At one point, I was stuck behind a locked gate with a Forgotling named Tiffany blocking my way. I distilled her, only to discover that if I'd been more patient, I could have used the Arca to drain power from the gate, sparing Tiffany.
What did you do to me? What's going on?
I came here for puzzles, not feelings. But speaking of which, Forgotten Anne does feature some real head scratches. However, that's in part due to the lack of direction you're given, as you're more or less forced to play trial and error until you stumble upon the answer. It's not ideal, but once I found my feet, I found them interesting enough.
I have to disagree. To me, they felt more like filler to pad out the runtime. Most of the puzzles revolve around channeling or moving anima from one cylinder to another, working out where it'd be best spent. The problem with that, though, is your Arca can only hold enough for one charge at a time. So once you've powered something, you have to find more anima if you want to do anything else. If you aren't careful, this can mean some very frustrating backtracking to go back and find more.
That's kind of the point though, you have to be smart about your anima use. Powering lights in a room that you aren't going back to wastes energy you might need later down the track. But you're right, while you can't lock yourself out of puzzles per se, having to backtrack isn't really fun. especially because the movement can be quite sluggish at times, particularly when it comes to jumping on and between platforms. I'm all for a good bit of platforming, but watching Anne belly flop off the same beam 4 or 5 times gets a bit tedious.
I think that comes down to the 2.5D layout. It can sometimes be difficult to make out what can and can't be jumped on or used when it's in the background or too far into the foreground, and that really hurts the flow of the game. While it does look really cool, I think a flat 2D plane would have been more effective here, or at least made it easier to get around. And it may have cut down on some of the Anne pancakes.
And cakes.
Final thoughts, Rad?
I think this might have worked better as a visual novel or a short film. For me, heavy narrative needs to be balanced with enjoyable gameplay, and I don't think Forgotton Anne just quite delivered on it. So I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
While I agree the balance isn't perfect, because the story is so strong, so full of heart and emotion that it genuinely had me second-guessing myself, I think I can overlook that imbalance somewhat. It's a 4 from me.
Anne, how nice of you to drop in.
Wow, guys, that game looks really lovely.
If you're gonna play it, Goose, make sure you have a shoulder to cry on.
Now, next week on GGSP, we have a special guest host. Yes, Barjo will be back for a full episode, so buckle up, Spawnlings. We'll have reviews of the hectic Onrush and the loot scavenging RPG, Moonlighter.
Well, have a good show, guys. I won't actually be here because of the confusing way we make television. I'm actually in the USA right now for E3. In fact, if you've missed my daily reports, make sure you jump on the ABC Me app or our YouTube channel to catch all the action from the biggest gaming event on the planet, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3.
Yeah, nice work, Goose. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait to go.
Welcome back. Until next time, Rat out.
Gem out.
Goose out?
You've already been out.
And you're back.
Okay.
Good luck.
I'll see you later.